When you open your eyes in the morning, the world hasn't changed, but your perspective has the power to. In that quiet moment, before the demands of the day rush in, before your phone lights up, before you speak to anyone else, that is your opportunity. That is your moment of power. Most people overlook it. They stumble into the day on autopilot, driven by urgency instead of purpose. But those who understand the importance of the beginning know this truth, and how you start your day determines how you live your life. Think about it. The first few thoughts you allow into your mind are like the first brushstrokes on a blank canvas. They color the way you see everything that follows. If you begin your day filled with doubt, fear, or stress, even the smallest inconvenience can feel overwhelming. But if you begin your day grounded, centered, and connected to your purpose, then even challenges become stepping stones. That's the essence of strength. And that's why we are here. Every morning, you are given a choice. Before, you can wake up and react, or you can wake up and lead. And leadership begins with the self. It doesn't matter what title you carry, what responsibilities you hold, or where you come from. You are the leader of your own life. And the most powerful way to lead is to lead your thoughts. This is where affirmations become more than just words. Before, they become tools. Tools for shaping the mind, for aligning your focus, and for calming the chaos that often begins before the sun even rises. Speaking affirmations aloud is not about pretending things are perfect. It is about declaring your intention to face the day with presence, with clarity, and with inner strength. Some may say, "But I don't feel strong in the morning." That's exactly why this practice matters. The strongest people are not those who never feel tired, afraid, or uncertain. They are those who choose to act with discipline despite those feelings. Affirmations are a form of internal discipline. When you wake up and choose to speak words of truth and power to yourself, you are setting a foundation, one that external events cannot easily shake. Imagine walking into battle without armor. That is how most people face their mornings. But when you begin with affirmations, you are putting on mental armor, not to shield yourself from life, but to move through it with courage, with control, with calm. You remind yourself of who you are. You claim responsibility for your energy. And in doing so, you change not just your day, but your direction. Let's go even deeper. The way your mind functions in the early morning is different from the rest of the day. In those first minutes, your brain is in a more receptive state, what some call a gateway to the subconscious. This is when suggestions can bypass resistance and take root. So when you repeat affirmations like, "I am focused," "I am disciplined," "I am worthy," they are not just motivational slogans. They are seeds, and every day you repeat them, you water those seeds. You cultivate a new mental environment, one that supports growth, peace, and purposeful action. Of course, this does not happen overnight. No lasting change does. But over time, as the repetitions build, so does your identity. You stop needing to remind yourself to be confident. You simply become someone who carries confidence as a natural state. You stop needing to resist distraction. You become someone who naturally chooses focus. This is the silent power of morning affirmations. They do not shout. They shape. And let us be clear, success is not just about achieving something in the world. True success is waking up with alignment, living each moment with intention, and resting at night knowing you remained true to your path. That kind of success begins in the morning. Not noise, not with urgency, but with stillness, with clarity, with a deliberate breath, and with words that awaken the strength already within you. Some people ask, how do I find motivation in the morning? But it is not about finding it. It is about creating it. Motivation is not something that appears. It is something you generate, like a fire you choose to light. The affirmations are the spark. You are the one who lights it. And over time, that fire grows into something far greater than temporary inspiration. It becomes discipline. And discipline, unlike motivation, is not emotional. Discipline is a commitment to your growth, to your values, to your journey. When you build this habit each morning, you are no longer at the mercy of the day. You become the architect of it. So before the world reaches you, before the noise, the messages, the opinions, reach yourself. Speak to yourself. Decide who you will be before anyone else tries to define it for you. Let your first thoughts be strong, not scattered. Let them be calm, not chaotic. And from that place of stillness and clarity, you begin the day already ahead. The morning is not a race. It is a ritual. Treat it with reverence. Respect that space. Use it wisely. Because how you begin often decides how far you go. Now that we understand the importance of the morning, that sacred time when the mind is open and the path is still untouched, we turn to the practice itself, the affirmations. Not just empty phrases, but a conscious declaration of who you are, what you value, and what you are willing to walk toward. Words carry weight. They shape intention. And when spoken with clarity, conviction, and consistency, they shape reality. You may wonder why we use 14 affirmations. It's simple. Each one is like a rung on a ladder, lifting you higher toward your best self. Each affirmation touches on a core aspect of mental strength, self-discipline, or focused intention. And just as the body benefits from a balanced training routine, the mind benefits from affirmations that activate different areas of your inner world. Confidence, calmness, determination, gratitude, and presence. Let us walk through them slowly, not as recitation, but as realization. The first, I am grounded and present in this moment. See, it reminds you to return to now. The mind often wakes up running, worrying about what hasn't been done or fearing what lies ahead. But presence is power. To be grounded is to not be shaken by imagined futures or past regrets. Start here. Begin your day rooted in where you are. The second, I am grateful for this new day and the opportunity to grow. The gratitude softens resistance. It opens the heart. It shifts the mind away from complaint and toward possibility. When you appreciate the day as a chance, not an obligation, everything becomes lighter. You move with more ease. Even challenges are seen through a different lens. Third, I am capable of handling anything that comes my way. This is not arrogance. It is assurance. You remind yourself that you have faced difficulty before and you are still here. Your strength is not in avoiding discomfort, but in meeting it head on with composure and trust in yourself. Fourth, I am focused and free from distraction. Focus is rare in a world full of noise, but it is trainable. And affirming your focus trains the mind to prioritize what matters. When you begin your day affirming clarity, it becomes easier to recognize and let go of the small things that try to pull you off path. Fifth, that I am disciplined and committed to my goals. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline endures. Discipline is not about pushing hard all the time. It is about showing up even when the mood is not there. This affirmation is a contract, a quiet agreement between who you are and who you are becoming. Sixth, I radiate confidence from within. Confidence is not given by others. It is not a performance. It is a result of knowing your values and walking in alignment with them. It is built in silence. Through repeated action and consistent self-respect, this affirmation reinforces that energy from within. Seventh, I choose peace over stress. You are not in control of everything that happens today, but you are always in control of your response. Peace is not the absence of challenge. It is the presence of stillness even in the storm. Repeating this reminds you that peace is a choice, and you have that choice in every moment. 8F, I learn and grow from every experience. When you affirm this, setbacks lose their sting. Mistakes become lessons. Growth is no longer tied to perfection, but to presence, curiosity, and humility. This affirmation transforms fear of failure into fuel for transformation. 9th, I speak to myself with kindness and respect. So many battles are fought in silence, between you and your own thoughts. This affirmation reorients the inner voice. You are not here to tear yourself down. You are here to guide yourself forward. And self-respect begins with how you speak to yourself in the quiet moments. 10th, I attract positivity through my actions and energy. You do not need to chase validation or approval. Energy is reciprocal. What you give out returns. So focus not on what others are doing, but on the energy you are choosing to embody. Kindness, resilience, focus, these are signals. And the world responds to them. 11th, I am in control of my habits and choices. This affirms responsibility, not as pressure but as power. You are not controlled by impulse. You can pause. You can choose. And the more you affirm this truth, the more your actions begin to align with long-term purpose over short-term relief. 12th, I am open to receiving abundance in all its forms. Thus, abundance is not only wealth, it is opportunity, it is love, it is clarity, peace, growth, health. This affirmation opens the mind and heart to receive, not from desperation, but from alignment. You become aware of what you already have and what is ready to flow toward you. 13th F, I am resilient and nothing can break my spirit. See, resilience is not the absence of pain. It is the decision to keep moving through it. When you affirm your inner strength, you remind yourself that circumstances may bend you, but they will not break you. The spirit remains unshaken. And finally, the 14th, I am walking my unique path with purpose and trust. You are not here to copy others. You are here to walk your path. And this affirmation centers you in that truth. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be, learning, growing, unfolding. With trust, you continue forward. These affirmations are not magic. They are mirrors. They reflect back to you the strength that is already within, the focus, the peace, the courage, the wisdom. And like any practice, they gain power through repetition. Speak them not just with your voice, but with your heart. Let the words settle into your breath, your posture, your choices. In the beginning, it may feel unnatural, but over time, you will notice a shift, not only in how you think, but in how you carry yourself, in how you respond, in how you lead. The affirmations do not change the world. They change you. And in changing yourself, you begin to change how you move through the world. That is the beginning of mastery. Repetition is often misunderstood. People think doing the same thing every day is boring, robotic, even unnecessary. But repetition is not a weakness. It is the path to mastery. If something is important enough to affect your life deeply, then it is important enough to be practiced daily. That's the reason we repeat affirmations every morning, not to hear the words again, but to become the kind of person who naturally lives by them. The mind is shaped by what it is fed consistently. Just like water shapes stone, slowly but relentlessly, your daily thoughts shape the structure of your character, your confidence, your direction. Repetition is the silent force behind all meaningful change. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. And your habits are built on what you repeat. Each time you say, I am focused, or you are not just reminding yourself a concept, you are reinforcing a neural pathway. Every repetition makes that connection stronger, faster, more automatic. It's the same way a martial artist trains a movement until it becomes instinct. At first, every step feels mechanical. You have to think about posture, breath, movement. But with repetition, the movement becomes part of you. It's no longer something you do. It's something you are. Affirmations follow the same principle. They are mental movements. Repeating them daily is how we train the mind to stop reacting out of fear, out of impulse, out of old stories, and instead respond with clarity, calmness, and choice. Repetition is how you replace noise with stillness, confusion with conviction, and doubt with discipline. But it must be intentional repetition. There is a difference between saying words and embodying them. When you speak each affirmation in the morning, don't rush through them. Don't say them because it's a task to complete. Say them because you are choosing your direction. Say them like they matter. Because they do. Not just to your morning, but to your entire day. To the kind of person you are becoming. Most people drift. They wake up and allow their thoughts to control them, their emotions to lead them, their environment to define them. But those who understand the power of repetition, they no longer drift. They move with intention. They return each morning to the same place, not because they are stuck, but because they are building something. Every repetition is a brick. And one day, without even noticing, they look up and see that they've built something unshakable. A mindset that can't be broken by circumstance, a discipline that doesn't depend on mood. Think about how nature operates. A tree does not grow tall because it tries harder once in a while. It grows because it follows its rhythm, its repetition. Reaching for light every single day, whether the sky is clear or clouded. Growth does not come from effort alone. It comes from repeated effort aligned with purpose. So why affirmations in the morning? Why every day? Because the world will not stop trying to pull you in different directions. Distractions, doubts, demands, they will come whether you prepare or not. But repetition in the morning prepares you. It centers you. It reminds you of your end before the waves arrive. When you start your day with repetition of truth, of strength, of clarity, you don't just survive the day, you command it. You may not feel the shift immediately. And that's where most people give up. They say, I've said these affirmations for a week, but nothing changed. That's like planting a seed and digging it up every morning to see if it's grown. The real transformation is happening underground, slowly, invisibly, steadily. And then one day it breaks through. But only if you stayed consistent, only if you honored the process. Repetition requires patience. It requires trust. And above all, it requires faith. Not in something outside of you, but in yourself. Faith that you are worth the effort, that your future is worth protecting, that your mind is worth training. Ask yourself, what do you want to be automatic in your life? Stress, doubt, procrastination, or calmness, focus, discipline. Whatever you repeat becomes your default. So choose wisely, choose daily, choose deliberately, because repetition is not passive. It is powerful. It is how transformation happens without force. It is how your inner world shifts so that the outer world responds. Let us also be clear, repetition does not make life dull. Before like, it makes life sharper, more refined. The same way a blade is sharpened by repetition, the mind is strengthened by returning again and again to the thoughts that matter. Every time you affirm your strength, you weaken your fear. Every time you affirm your focus, you weaken your distraction. And over time, you no longer need to force positive thoughts. They become your natural response. Repetition is not about perfection. It is about consistency. You will miss some days. You will say the words without feeling them. That is human. But what matters is that you return again and again, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because those are the moments when the repetition carries you. You don't have to feel inspired every day. You just have to return to the words. Let them do the work. Eventually, the affirmations are no longer something you say. They are something you believe. They become part of your identity. And when belief and behavior align, that is when true change begins. Not just for a day, but for a lifetime. That is the silent power of repetition. Starting your day with strength is not a one-time event. It is not something you try once and then forget. It is a decision you make over and over again. Not just in the morning, before like, but throughout your entire journey. And while the affirmations, the repetition, the morning practice, they are tools. What matters most is the person you choose to be when no one is watching, when it is early, when it is quiet, and when the choice is yours alone to rise or to remain the same. Each day is a blank page, not in the poetic sense, but in a very real, practical way. You are not chained to who you were yesterday. You are not limited by your past thoughts or yesterday's mood. The beauty of morning is that it reminds you of this truth. Every sunrise is an invitation to begin again, stronger, clearer, more intentional. Not perfect, just present. Present with your path, your vision, your voice. What happens when you begin every morning with that kind of awareness? Slowly, something begins to shift. You begin to trust yourself, not because you've achieved something grand, but because you showed up, again, consistently, with heart. And that kind of trust builds a quiet power. The kind that doesn't need to be loud. The kind that doesn't need to prove anything. It just is. There will be days when the affirmations feel far from true. Days when you wake up tired, uncertain, maybe even frustrated. That is part of the process. That is not failure. That is training. A strong mind is not one that always feels good. It is one that remembers its purpose, even when things don't feel easy. That is why we train every day. Not for the days when everything is going well, but for the days when it isn't. And on those days, it is the morning practice that becomes your anchor. When the mind wants to spiral, when the world feels heavy, when doubt creeps in, it is those first few minutes, those first few breaths, those first words you speak to yourself that set the tone. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a creator of direction. Before like, that is what it means to start your day strong, but it doesn't end there. The strength you build in the morning must carry into the day, not through force, but through presence. The discipline you affirm must translate into the actions you take. The calmness you invite must follow you into conversations, into challenges, into decisions. It is not about being perfect. It is about being aligned. About living in a way that reflects the energy you created at the beginning of the day. And when you live that way, before like something powerful happens, you begin to build momentum. Each morning builds upon the last. Each repetition reinforces the one before it, before like. And the person you're becoming stops feeling like a distant idea. It starts becoming your reality. Your thoughts, your posture, your focus. They all begin to reflect this version of you that was once just a vision and is now a presence. You see, success is not one big moment. It is a collection of small, consistent decisions. It is the way you breathe when you feel overwhelmed, the way you pause before reacting, the way you remind yourself of your values when it would be easier to give in. These moments are small, but they are not insignificant. They are the steps of the journey. And you take them one after another. Each day you begin with intention. It is easy to wait for motivation, to wait until you feel like it. But that is not the path of mastery. The path of mastery is paved with action, not mood. If you wait for perfect conditions, you will wait your whole life. But if you commit to showing up, even imperfectly, then you build something unstoppable. Not overnight, but over time, quietly, consistently, daily. So start today and start again tomorrow. Don't aim for dramatic transformation. Aim for quiet alignment. Speak the affirmations even when you don't feel ready. Repeat them even when they feel unfamiliar. Trust that your consistency will carry you through. It's not about changing everything at once. It's about changing one thing and letting that one thing ripple outward. Start with your breath. Start with your words. Start with your intention. And then let those shape your actions. Let your actions shape your identity. Let your identity shape your path. This is how real change happens. From the inside out, it is not enough to listen to affirmations. You must live them. You must carry them into your work, your relationships, your choices. You must become the embodiment of the energy you create in the morning. That is what gives the practice meaning. That is what makes it powerful. Not the words alone, but the way they guide your being. And over time, you will not need to convince yourself. The affirmations will not just be statements. They will be reflections of who you are, of who you have chosen to become, not by accident, but by design, with patience, with presence, with purpose. So rise each day with discipline. Speak each word with clarity. Move through each moment with intention. You are not here to live on repeat. You are here to rise, to refine, and to realize your potential, one strong morning at a time.